Markova from Gracia. This is the Rorshok, Georgia update from the 5th of December, 2024. Quick summary of what's going down in Georgia. Short answer is a lot. On Thursday, the 28th, Prime Minister Irakli Kobakhidze announced that Georgia would suspend accession talks with the EU until 2028. He's been backtracking a lot on that recently, but that's what he originally said. This decision sparked massive unrest across the country. Tens of thousands gathered in front of Parliament to protest against the move, considering it a betrayal of Georgia's constitution, as Article 78 requires every branch of government to take steps towards Georgia's integration into the EU and NATO. The situation worsened when authorities brutally beat and arrested demonstrators, which led to even more people joining the protest. So far, each day until yesterday, this has followed a similar pattern. People gather in front of Parliament, police use water cannons and tear gas to disperse them, protesters build barricades and fire back with fireworks. More than 300 people have been arrested, and 80% of them show signs of brutal beatings in custody. Many videos of police brutality emerged, with some Georgian celebrities reposting them, showing their support for the protests. On that note about demonstrations, on Sunday, the first Ministry of Foreign Affairs from Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia announced on Twitter that they have decided to sanction Georgian officials who are trying to suppress legitimate protests in the country. In their joint statement, the ministers said they did not welcome people who oppose democracy and violate human rights in their countries. Soon after, Canada joined them in imposing the sanctions. Several days later, Svenja Schulz, German Minister for Economic Cooperation and Development, shared on Twitter that Germany would not carry out new projects and sign new agreements with the current Georgian government. On Wednesday, the 4th TV channel, Tvari, released a list of 100 individuals involved in the violent suppression of protests, identifying them as members of the Special Task Department. These officers, known for wearing masks during crackdowns, had previously kept their identities secret. After the list was made public, social media users quickly began searching for and sharing the Facebook profiles of those named. Tvari reported that the information had been leaked from the Ministry of Internal Affairs. In response to the exposure, the members of the Special Task Force began deleting their social media accounts as quickly as they could. Ilia Topuria, the current MMA champion in the featherweight division and resident of Spain, showed his support for the protests happening in his homeland. On Monday, the second Topuria shared an Instagram story expressing his backing for demonstrators and condemning police brutality. He said it was shameful how the police were treating the protesters and criticized the government's decision to suspend negotiations with the EU. 5 ambassadors have left their posts since Prime Minister Kobakhidze announced the suspension of the U.S. accession talks. These are the Georgian ambassadors to Bulgaria, Italy, the Netherlands, Czechia, and the U.S. The most notable among them is the ambassador to the U.S., David Zakaliani. He served as Minister of Foreign Affairs from 2018 to 22 before being appointed as an ambassador. There were rumors that his relationship with Prime Minister Kobakhidze had soured after Kobakhidze was disinvited from Biden's UN reception 3 months ago. However, Zakaliani's resignation is more likely connected to the U.S. declaring a suspension of its strategic partnership with Georgia. Still, Zakaliani did not officially say why he resigned. The Deputy of Foreign Affairs Minister also stepped down. Next up on Wednesday, the 4th, police raided opposition offices and the homes of activists. They entered several offices of the Coalition for Change, Gvaramia Melia Girchi, Droa or Tavisutlevistuis, and the United National Movement, or Natsevi. During the operation, Nika Gvaramia, leader of Tavisutlevistuis, had a verbal altercation with the police demanding to be allowed into his office. The police arrested him using force and dragged him into the police car. Gvaramia struggled to breathe after sustaining injuries and lost consciousness. He was arrested on charges of resisting the police and is expected to be released within 48 hours. During the day, the police arrested 5 members of the Natsevi youth movement, 1 member of Girchi, More Freedom, 2 members of Lelo for Georgia. They also entered the homes of civil activists like Ilia Glonti and Kristina Botkoveli, who run the Facebook group Daitove, with over 230,000 members, where they discuss the political situation in Georgia. An extremely tame conversation and website. In other news, during a briefing on Tuesday, the 3rd, President Zurabashvili stated that she is currently the only legitimate state institution operating in the country. She accused Bidzina Ivanishvili of usurping power and creating a violent regime. She said that it was her responsibility to lead the country to a new parliamentary election, which are needed to form a legitimate government. Zurabashvili's term officially ends in December. According to the Georgian Dream, or Kotsevi amended new law, the public will not vote for the next president. It will conveniently be chosen by an electoral college. That's what they called it because that's worked so well for the United States. They have already presented their candidate for presidency, Mikhail Kavelashvili, a former footballer and their member of parliament who sponsored the Russian law and is unburdened by any degree of higher education. However, President Zurabashvili insists she will not step down until new elections are held and a legitimate government is formed. Also on Tuesday, the Constitutional Court of Georgia, the highest judicial authority in the country, dismissed a case brought by the president and opposition parties. They argued that the election results should be deemed unconstitutional because two fundamental electoral rights, the secrecy of ballots and accessibility of voting, were not upheld. Regarding secrecy, the voter's mark on the ballot was visible on the other side of the paper, revealing their choice, despite CEC commitments. In terms of accessibility, voting stations in foreign territories lacked the capacity to allow everyone who wished to vote to do so. This was evident from the massive queues on Election Day where many people could not vote due to significant delays. Had the Constitutional Court ruled in favor of the president and opposition, new elections would have been required. On Thursday, the 28th of November, Vladimir Putin, Russia's president, gave a thumbs up to the Georgian government. He recalled how amazed he was by Kotsevi's bravery in defending their position on the Russian law. He praised the Georgian government for not backing down despite protests and pressure from inside and outside the country, as he called it, and still passing the law, which of course was done under enormous personal pressure from Putin and the government of Russia. On Tuesday, the 3rd of the Georgian Legion, a military unit operating in Ukraine, mostly made up of Georgians, although not entirely, issued a statement on Twitter denying rumors that they plan to return to Georgia and join the protests. According to their official Twitter account, Russian propaganda was behind these rumors. Despite supporting the ongoing protests in their homeland, the Legion emphasized that their battle remains in Ukraine, where they fight against the common enemy of both countries. President Zurabashvili reshared the statement on Twitter, aiming to calm fears of a political crisis escalating into armed conflict. It seems Georgia is on everyone's mind this week, even in American politics. A case in point is John Bolton, former national security advisor, who compared Kash Patel, Trump's nominee to head the FBI, to Stalin's right-hand man and fellow countryman Laurent Beria. Beria was the head of the secret police, or NKVD, the most feared institution in the Soviet Union. His department was notorious for kidnapping and torturing political opponents, and really just everybody. Beria himself wielded enormous power and was despised even by his allies. So, after Stalin's death, he was arrested, tried for treason, and executed. If you haven't seen the hilarious movie The Death of Stalin, see it. He figures prominently. Let's wrap up this edition with a very interesting new discovery. Recent archaeological excavations near Lake Bash Helemi uncovered a basalt tablet with 60 symbols. 39 of them are unique and not found in other known writing systems. Dating from the late Bronze Age or early Iron Age, the tablet could reveal insights into the region's ancient civilizations. The symbols suggest potential uses for recording religious, administrative, or perhaps military information. Some symbols resemble ancient scripts from the Caucasus, Near East, and Europe. The inscription may represent an independent proto-writing system. This discovery challenges assumptions about Caucasian writing and adds complexity to the region's cultural history. And that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us. You know that besides the Rorshok Georgia Update, we also do others. Our latest ones are the Arctic Update about the area north of the Arctic Circle, the Ocean Update about the 70% of the world covered in salt water, the Multilateral Update about the world's major multilateral institutions. The other ones are all country updates. We have a selection of countries from Africa, Asia, South America, and Europe. Check Rorshok.com/updates for the full list. Link in the show notes. Nachandis.